The sardines were playing hide and go seek with us, but they have popped up again. Sardines have been full up on the flatter sea. I think most of this week they should be netting. The sea stays settled for the weekend. We should see them on the weekend as well.
Where are the sardines? Well, my bro, they are down here on the south coast.
There you go, buddy. Hit it now!
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green.
Hey, hello anglers. Hey, the sardines have certainly come about and they are here in full bloom. They have really brought in the fish, especially down the south coast, but not just there. The entire coastline is alive and so is the Midlands. But oh man, you name the fish and they have come out. Absolutely every single one of them, from Garrick to cob to kingfish to greenfish, to the sharks, to the shad, to the bronze bream. Guys, it has been absolutely epic. Some brilliant fishing all over, and our reporters are absolutely poised, eager, and hungry to get you into those feeding zones for this weekend. Now, we do have some challenging conditions coming up, but with this amount of fish, irrespective of the conditions, we know we're going to get some action. So speaking of the action, let's get into it. But before we do, guys, here's a huge shout out to our sponsors, the Kingfisher.
Meet the all-new Crossfire LT, redesigned to transform every cast into a moment worth remembering. With advanced air drive design, feel ultra-smooth, effortless rotation that is light, clean, and incredibly responsive. At its core, tough digigear delivers lasting durability and consistent power, cast after cast. The LC ABS spool boosts your casting distance while reducing line trouble, giving you total control on the water. And when the pressure's on, the ATD Type L drag system keeps things smooth, steady, and in your hands, lightweight, strong, and reliable. The Crossfire LT available in sizes 1000, 2000, 3000C, and 4000C. Fish smarter, fish smoother, fish Crossfire LT. Available at tackle stores nationwide.
Thank you, the Kingfisher. Guys, this show could not be possible without them. None of these shows could be possible without them. They are here. They are loyal because they are loyal to you to deliver the latest fishing news. That is what you're here for, so let's get right into it. Let's kick it off in my hometown with Mike V and Brad Krobler with everything that's been going on in and around Durban.
How's it, guys? The sardines were playing hide and go seek with us, but they have popped up again. They were wild down by Port Edward all the way up to Sea Park. The sardines have been full up on the flatter sea. I think most of this week they should be netting. The sea stays settled for the weekend. We should see them on the weekend as well. Saying that, lots of shad on our coast. From small to, I've seen a couple really good ones. They're 2.5, 3 kilo size. Some really nice fish. In the mix there, guys putting live baits, catching some lovely Garrick, lovely cob. 1 or 2 grey sharks still around in the mix. Trying the guys live baits, fishing for the edibles. But yeah, it's been a very good week on the beaches when the sea's been settled. On the paddle ski and ski boat side, the guys are getting some lovely couta still, a couple wahoo around, some yellowfin tuna. Oaks going after the game fish have been doing very well. The oaks fishing on the bottom, a little bit on the slow side, but there have been a couple geelbek, a couple doggers, quite a bit of rock cod, all that sort of thing. Oaks are getting their fair share of fish here and there. In the bay, it's been a little bit on the quiet side. It stays a bit quiet now. A couple good-sized grunters around, 1 or 2 small ones, 1 or 2 big ones. A few kingies still being caught here and there. No spring, unfortunately. Snapper salmon have made an appearance, and the small carver in the bay. So the guys are having some fun. Guys, this is Mike V for NSA News. Thank you very much.
Good morning, guys. It's Brad here from Linsky Fishing Charters. We've had what we could call one hell of a big groundswell running through in the Durban area, with some good 3-meter rolling swells running through. The fishing has been a bit difficult. Yeah, guys, there have been some beck out in that 60 to 80 meter area of the Stronger Rocks mid-reef side. The snoek side was a little bit dangerous to go into the shallows, so that was but the guys who are going a bit further north and right up to Msloti have still been getting a couple of couta. There was also some couta off the bluff side. So bottom fishing generally has been all right. There's some really good Englishmen coming out at the moment and some good general slingers and soldiers. Also around still are those horrible gangster fish, which are just beating up tackle and smashing people to pieces. Yeah, guys, so this is Brad for Angling News South Africa, Tightlands, and speak to you guys all next week.
All right. Thank you, Mike and Brad. You know what? That's a decent start. Not the most phenomenal start. Hey, you want phenomenal action? You're going to have to wait till the end of the show because that's happening down the South Coast. But this is nothing wrong with it. It's fine. It's perfect. You know, there's some big shad around. There's some good bottom fish. We know there's a lot of Englishmen. And, of course, those ambers that Brad is talking about. Those are really breaking guys' tackle to pieces. Make sure you buckle up, boys. Those are the gangsters of the ocean. All right. So now that's our Durban report. What's happening up on the North Coast? Well, who better to give it to us than our very own North Coast reporter who is getting fish on a daily basis, absolutely loving it, to the point where she is fishing the Snoek Derby in St. Lucia this weekend. Guys, it's the one and only, it's the legendary, it is Michaela Daniels.
What's up, everyone? This is Michaela from Durban reporting for Angling News SA. It's been another awesome week of fishing along our coastline and kicking things off for Blue Lagoon, where there's still a couple of Garrick coming out of the bricks as well as a few half cobs and grunter. For the guys at Beechwood, there's still shad on the bite in the late afternoons, while the daytime has been producing some rays and sharks. Moving up to Virginia, the shad is still coming out as well as a few grunter and sand sharks, while for Umhlanga anglers, there's still a few shad and stumpies coming out amongst the usual inedibles. For the offshore side of things, Durban is still hot with snoek in the Garrick, while there's still a few couta coming out too, and some wahoo in the deep, while for the bottom side of things, there's still a few lovely darger and geelbek coming out amongst the usual reds and rockhards, with one or two amberjacks in between. For Mfloti, however, there's still some nice couta and snoek coming out, while the deep is still producing some yellowfin tuna. And for the bottoms, the guys are getting into some lovely darger, rockhard, geelbek, and a couple of yellowtail. Moving right up the coast of Ballito, there's still shad coming out in the early mornings and late afternoons, while the sharks and edibles are still in the bite too. For St. Lucia, the shad are coming out as well as a few kingies and some rays, while for the offshore side, Ballito is still producing snoek and couta as well as some GTs and the odd Garrick. St. Lucia is still producing lovely snoek, couta, yellowfin tuna, and wahoo. That's going to be it for me for this week, guys. Tight lines and have a great one.
Thank you, Michaela, and all the best to you and Riyadh as you fish that Snoek Derby this weekend up in St. Lucia. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely epic, and I know you guys are going to smash it. Hey, speaking of smashing competitions, that Mir and Sea event that I covered this weekend, the 21 species, once again, huge shout out to my man William. Guys, this is what an advert for the sport. This is what the juniors are about. It was a junior that won it. 15-year-old William coming in with a 20.6 kilo couta off his kayak. Legendary stuff. All right, but while we're still on the topic of, Durban and Durban North, I want to mention that my friend Kamal told me this morning that there has been a couple Garrick that has been coming out. In fact, there's been about 2 per day coming out of there, as well as some serious size shad. As for the piers of Durban, that has been pretty quiet. But you know what? It is what it is. And we know Blue Lagoon is bringing in the fish. It has been over the last couple of weeks. Now, while they're up on the North Coast, Durban area, somewhere in between Tugela Banks, we're out with Richard with this week's latest fishing report. All right, guys, before we move on to the next report, I just want to tell you, if you have some kids or you know of some kids and they're eager to fish and you're listening to this report and you want to get them involved, there are development days happening. There are 2 of them this weekend. One is happening up on the North Coast, Westbrook Beach, and that is with the KZN Inland Shore Angling Association. And the other is happening at Reunion Beach, and that is with the KZN SAA. It's the Schools League, all right? And that there is your Shore Angling Association. What they will learn are some techniques, some casting techniques, paid presentations. They'll get to fish. More importantly, they will be getting to fish with some experts, the club anglers. So if you want to get the kids involved, it is an absolutely great initiative happening over the school holidays. Choose anyone you want. I'm going to be probably heading to a reunion. I've got a couple friends out there. I will be assisting the kids as well. It's going to be a great weekend. It's happening on Saturday morning. Now for our next report.
Hi from the Bottas Ski Boat Club at Tugela Mouth. Mother Nature affected surf fishing during the past week. Full moon, a high neap spring tide changed the sandbanks at the mouth. What were sandbar spits are now islands, and the river pretty much has 2 exit points. Additionally, the air pressure dropping, the wind speed and its direction, wave height, and the water column temperature all affected the fishing. So it was a question of having to work hard for bites and being patient. Despite these challenges, the river produced grunter and bream, and the traditional Tugela mouth fishing marks at the mouth, Lighthouse Rocks, Lifeguard Car Park and Resort Car Park all had small but legal-sized cob and shad. But as said, you were made to work hard for bites by changing baits, changing rigs, changing the water column height, changing casting distance, and changing location. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Guys, this is exactly what you get from our Angler News reporters. A good, honest report. You know, and although it wasn't fireworks, you had to work for your catch, there was still some fish around. So it wasn't a ghost town. So, yeah, that's our report of Tugela, of the North Coast, of Durban. Now, what's happening up in the Midlands? Well, we've got a report from Jan, and he is even touching on the bass in a little more detail this week.
Hey there, guys. Well, so much for my mentioning that we are past the winter solstice and on our way to summer. I think that with the balmy weather that we had recently, somebody got a cool drink, quote unquote, out of the fridge freezer and forgot to close the door. Temperatures plummeted across the Midlands over the last week with some very low single figures and almost certainly sub-zero in places. This has pushed waters to cool further, and judging by the trout angling returns, most probably pushed the fish into full spawn mode, turning them into the finned foes that they can be, where they shun most offerings. Frustrating fishing it may be, but very exciting when you crack the code. For most river anglers, the 3-month winter close season for river trout is a prime time spent polishing your ultralights and filling fly boxes. But for those anglers with eyes on the moving waters, while fishing can be slow and tough, there are other dragons that are worth hunting. Winter scaling fishing is all about getting just a few bites, but those bites will make up for the time spent in between. Colder water may make the fish sluggish, but there's always a fish that will want to eat, and most of these, or some of these, will be above average size. Scaly fishing is primarily with nymphs, weighted and unweighted, but dry fly is not uncommon at this time. With peak stillwater trout season, the Natal Fly Fishers Club anglers are racking up the visits. But like the Kruger Park, the specials are playing hide and seek and are few and far between, but only for the persevering angler. Fish coming to the net have been in the 11 to 13 inch, that is 28 to 38 centimeter bracket, with the biggest fish in the returns of the week, with a rainbow falling into the 17 to 19 inch or 43 to 48 centimeter class. As mentioned, water temperatures have dropped further and are fast approaching the single figure mark, and fish will be or should be found patrolling the hard bottom shallows. In particular, if the stillwater has an incoming perennial stream, fish will be found in the estuary with a view to heading upstream to spawn. Returns indicate that streamer fishing with larger flies has slowed, so you may end up changing more flies than what you might be considered reasonable for a day out on the water. But as they say, there's always one, or maybe even two, that are fish that will be eating. Word from the water is that little insignificant piece of red fluff known as a bloodworm, or San Juan worm in one of its more formal is currently doing the business. But shh, you never heard it here. Bass fishing remains on the slow in the Midlands, with very little news coming in from both Midmar and Albert Fall dams. There are, however, some fish being reported from private waters. The dam hosted the KwaZulu team tournament trail, that is the KZN Triple T, last weekend. Biggest fish came in at just over 3 kilos, second fish came in at just under 3 kilos, and the biggest bag totaling nearly 17 kilos. Fourth place went to Team Thunderbaits, comprising of PMB local Warwick Brendan Oliver and teammate Dan Beer. And of the 28 boats, 20 managed bag, which is excellent going for winter. And congrats to all the anglers. Guys, do stop in Kingfish Maritzburg for the best in tackle advice. This is Jan Korribal reporting for Kingfish Maritzburg and for Angler News South Africa.
Thank you, Jan. Who left the fridge door open? I absolutely love it. Oh, Jan, I've always loved your metaphors. Brilliant stuff. Great report. And thank you for that report on the bass. So, yeah, not too much action of Mumbai and Albert Falls. By the way, we need to have another chat about what's really going on at Albert Falls. Watch the space. I'm working on something that will shine some light on the topic. But if you are looking for that bass and you're around Durban, you do not have to travel too far because Inanda Dam has been producing the fish. And I did speak to one or two guys from Hazelmere. They have been getting in some fish on the weekends as well. So, yeah, there is some bass around. We know we got some trout up in the Midlands. Freshwater is not looking too bad. However, you want to know about the action, right? You want to know about the sardines. You want to know about the South Coast and all the buzz throughout the week. Well, let's jump straight into it. We're going to kick it off with Ray Thompson with that Mid-South Coast report.
I know the kiddies development, the KZN kiddies development took part in rocks. And there were a lot of kids fishing. There were quite a few guys on Nyoni rocks trying for shad. I did, however, see one Garrick come out and a couple of small shad. So the shad are starting to make their appearance down our side, and they are quite big, actually, for this time of the year. We're talking, some of them I saw were about 2 kilos, but most of them all in that 1.5 kilo range. So there is quite a lot of shad coming out, guys. We've got some lovely weather the next couple of days. So go out there, have some fun, guys.
Thank you, Ray. So there has been some fish down in the area, not fireworks, but you know what? It's enough for the school holidays to get the kids excited. Day after the shad, day after the rock species. That's exactly what you're going to get out there. However, if you want everything that the Sardine Run has to offer, if you want everything that KZN and the East Coast over winter, over this holiday period, if you want all that action, it is in the lower South Coast. And we are bringing you the stuff with our South Coast reporter, Adam Lyon.
Hey, Banesh, I hope you're doing well, my friend. And everyone out there has had a beautiful week so far. So we have to answer the question that everybody has been asking, where are the sardines? Well, my bro, they are down here on the South Coast. And again, where are the gamefish? Where are the non-eds? Again, Banesh, they are down here on the South Coast. It's been absolutely epic. It is firing on all cylinders down on the South Coast. Once again, that purple patch is shining bright, Banesh. From the guys netting sardines to the guys getting thunder-sized shad. And I mean, absolutely, Margaret Pierce being firing, Banesh. The old duck has been holding up that flag, just saying, yes, this is where the shad are biting. And even the last couple of days, Garrick have just been absolutely wild. The guys have been getting snoek. So yes, the guys have also been getting some spoon thieves, aka kingfish down on the South Coast, a bit of cob as well in the mix. Lovely to see that. The only thing we're missing at this stage, Vinesh, has got to be the couta. But we know that it's going to happen because we have the deep water spots. The sardines are definitely moving their way up the coastline. And in terms of non-eds, we've got Ivan, Mo, and Colby down in Port Edward. After the guys landed their sards, they got some bus-sized non-eds. So yes, it's firing on all cylinders. We've also had the tuna bonanza held by Shelley Ski Boat Club recently. The guys got some good fish there, so definitely something worthwhile to mention if you are coming down to the South Coast and ski boat fishing is your thing. Now, let's just wait and see, Vinesh. Hopefully, more of these sards push themselves up. We have the right water conditions, the wind conditions, and maybe, just maybe, the stars aligned and we have another epic sardine season, because that's what it's lining itself up to be. Otherwise, guys, stay safe, tight lines, and let's see those catches. See you all on the next one.
Adam, what an absolute peach of a report. Thank you so much for that. Totally inspired to head to the South Coast this week, and they've got everything of all those points, including the sardines, and amongst that, those sharks, those kingfish, those Garrick, the cob, the bronze bream. It's all over there. It's all over the South Coast. So, guys, tell me, where are you planning on going? Are you still heading up the North Coast? Are you fishing off Durban? Are you heading to the Midlands for some fresh water and quietness? Or are you going to the buzz of everything? Are you going to the hub of all the KZN action right now, the lower South Coast? Well, wherever it is, you are bound to get some rods bending. So with that being said, until the next one.
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green. Find more episodes at ecr.co.za under podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Let's fish for the future.